Mr. David Palan.
Yes, sir.
How do you think this live recording technique went last week?
I think it went well. And there were little buggy things that you have corrected.
Well, hopefully. We'll find out this week.
For sure.
All right. Let's
try it.
Shall we begin?
You aren't stuck in traffic. You are traffic.
Let's begin now.
Please get that bicycle-shaped object out of this shop. Oh, no, dude. No mix and match here. Black bottoms or full-on kit. Pedal on, bro. Pedal on.
Let's begin now.
Oh, geez. Learn the hard way. Wider is better.
Today is Monday, May 27th, 2019. You just downloaded and are listening to Bike Shop CX.
Bike Shop CX.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading, everyone. Music I'm using on today's show is Be Jew by Philly Run. As always, this is available at the free music archive where you can download it for free. Today on the show, Mr. David Palan and I are going to do, of course, What Are You Working On? We're going to talk a little bit about what we've done to set up the interviews for the April CX Challenge winners. And then we're doing questions, and more questions. Any question?
Are we going to do answers this time?
And that's going to be the show. We're not going to do a tech topic today because we want to get all your awesome questions in. So
we owe it to you,
that's
our
right.
viewers.
We owe it to you. So, all right. I think that's enough of our yapping. Let's get on with it. The bike shop is open.
I never pay that much attention to the intro.
Yeah.
But you say that's enough of us yapping. And here we go. We're going to start yapping, aren't we?
Well, I mean, it's because that stuff is meaningless, right? People are like, I don't want to listen to this stuff. Just get on with it. You guys do such a good job with everything else.
That's it. Yeah. I have no complaints ever.
Right. So, hey, Mr. Dave Palan, what's going on, man?
Not much. What's going on with you? Beautiful day here at Bike Shop Central.
It finally has stopped raining for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And there's going to be like nice
it's like mow the lawn now because it's going to rain again tomorrow,
yes,
I'm sure.
Yes, we're sitting here. We're so dedicated. We are recording on a holiday, this Memorial Day holiday.
Yeah.
So, but we want to, our schedule, we're kind of continuing our thrown off schedule with recording on Monday that got screwed up last time. But that's all right.
That's cool.
We'll figure it out. I don't know. We might move it back to Friday at some point or not.
Yeah. We'll move it forward to Friday.
It's podcasting, man. We can do whatever we want.
It's your show, darn it. We can do what we want.
That's right. So, all right. Well, Mr. David Palan.
Yeah.
I have a question.
You didn't tell me there was going to be questions.
I think you've heard this question before. What are you working on? I
am working on dust remediation.
Dust.
And it's tough to describe this dust.
I'm guessing it's dirt road dust.
Dirt road dust.
It's fine, like that talcum-y powder dust.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
When you think of how fine this stuff is, when you find it in your bib shorts after a ride,
right? Like, what did it?
How did it get there? I'm pretty sure I had I'm sure I had my shorts on the entire ride. And
I haven't been taking my shorts off during a ride for over a year now.
At least a year since I've been riding with the straps down. But we got out for a ride yesterday. Did 70-something miles of this luscious dirt that's out here. We did a lap of the DTE trail.
Nice. It's actually the rain has made the surface of the dirt roads really nice.
Yeah.
If you can ride when it's not actively raining. But in between the rain, it's nice and compact.
Yeah.
So anyways, go ahead.
And fairly smooth surface.
Yeah.
And I was just loving it. I was thinking, we got to the DTE trail. We did a lap. We coming home. And I'm thinking, this is really cool. I want to be out all day. And the sky's open. and we're getting rained on.
Well, you
It's
can
like,
be out all day, but you're gonna be wet.
you're gonna suffer all day. And then I came home and I actually put something up on the Instagram.
Uh-huh.
You can see I have that perfect dirt road tan line where it's caked.
It looks like a
on.
suntan, but it's a dirt tan.
Yeah. That and it was and
So that talcum-y powder stuff becomes paste.
it does.
Yeah.
It does. And it is on everything.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have a power washer, do you?
No, we were actually talking with a friend of mine about power washer options and the new cordless ones that are in the pits and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a new one coming out from Muck-Off. I guess it's available in Europe. That I'm really interested in, intrigued about maybe bringing here.
Yeah.
What's your go-to power washer in the pits? Not the gas powered, but in the pits.
In the pits? Oh, I mean,
use the ones that
are there. Yeah, because it's too much. It's too much complication to try and, in my opinion, to get your own power washer over there.
And now you have your own power washer. It's gas powered, and you have the big tank that you bring.
Yeah.
But I know I've seen some teams have cordless that have like a drop-in tube. They drop into a 4-gallon pail of water.
Yeah.
And they're good to go.
I don't know what kind of pressure they get out of those. To me, if
not quite enough to blow out the bearings.
That's good, which is
right?
good, right?
For the basic home user, you're just really trying to loosen the dirt more than anything else.
Yeah, it's probably fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just never really looked into it much because I have just my gas powered,
Right, yeah.
So I just always use that. And even, if you're on the road traveling and you don't have yours with you, man, just pull into a car wash.
Yeah.
The key is standing far enough back, right? You don't gotta be up on. If you're 5 feet away, you're not going to damage your bearing. So and soak it with that thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and it works really good.
So the big question that I have for you, when you're doing that, wax or no wax? Because you get that lemony smell,
right?
Yeah.
For the bikes, no wax.
No
For
wax.
the van, wax. You always rinse with wax. You don't rinse with the water at those.
Not
car
the
washes.
distilled water that comes out as a fine mist
No,
to prevent
you
spotting.
rinse. No, I do that, but you rinse with the wax.
wax, yeah.
Because that just deactivates the soap right away.
Yeah.
On your car.
Yeah.
Or your van. That van is a pain to wash.
I'm surprised you don't go through like the truck wash over there on
I've
Baker
thought of it
Road
because
or
it's like
something.
$11. It's so worth every penny of that. You know, to make that.
Because it's probably about $30 in quarters and you never get near the top of that thing.
Right. No,
You're spraying it up in the air. It's basically like a mist coming back down on you.
If I'm like at a race and I park at a hotel parking lot and I'm like on, say, the 4th floor of a hotel and I have a view of the parking lot and I look down at the van, you can see the top is dirty.
You don't grab like water bottles and start squirting it out the window at it.
Everything's clean around the sides that you can see.
Yeah.
And then but if you get up, you see, the top's filthy. Yeah, because that thing's like 10 feet.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm not the tallest guy. I have the same problem with my little Saturn Vue.
You can't see the top. You can't reach it with the brush.
No. As much as I love my service course brushes.
Yeah.
I can't get them up there.
They need service course. You guys need to make one with like a 7-foot handle.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
a truck driver would use to clean his windshield.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, and I know I've shown you Gravel Try Hard on the Instagrams.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to check her stuff out. Amazing. She does a great job at pointing out the craziness of the misogyny in advertising around bicycles.
That's good.
I think that she should do, and I was going to send a note to her, but I think she should do something with service course brushes. Can you imagine like her creativity in some of the things that she does?
It would be good.
Service course brushes. Yeah.
That would be good.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Yeah. There's an unpaid endorsement there for service course and for Gravel Try Hard.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So,
yes.
You heard about me.
Yeah.
Enough about me. What, sir, are you working on?
So this is kind of cool. I really like this. I was at the co-op Saturday volunteering, as I do, for a minimum of 8 hours a week, every week.
Yeah.
For the past...
Is that part of your parole agreement?
Yeah,
or,
yeah. For the past 6 years now, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And so I'm there. I was actually there cleaning parts of someone's bike.
A certain doctor that shall remain nameless.
But anyways, this was early. I got there early, so I was doing that. So the shop opens, and this kid, I say kid, when you're as old as you and I are, Mr. Dave Pound, 20 years old is kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this kid looks like he's 20 years old, comes wheeling in an old in my opinion, one of the most underrated bikes there is.
The Schwinn Twin?
Especially for commuter. Close. A Schwinn Traveler.
Oh, the Suburban, yeah. But yeah, the Traveler.
The Suburban too in some ways, yeah. But the Schwinn Traveler.
Yeah.
I know it's only true temper steel in the frame, but man, it's got a English threaded bottom bracket and it's got a derailleur hanger.
Yeah.
It's actually a Traveler 2.
I didn't realize it had a derailleur hanger on that bike.
It's the Traveler 2. It's the one that's a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
I used to have one of these. So this kid comes rolling this in. It's way too small for him. I'm like, I wonder. I hope he doesn't think he's going to be riding this.
Yeah.
No, but get this. So he comes in. I'm like, hey, yeah, can I help you? What do you want to work on today? And he's like, this is my mom's bike.
Oh, I love this story already.
And for her birthday, I want to make it rideable again because she said she wanted to ride some more again.
It's like so much good in this story.
Dude, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you're gonna need to get some part, right? You're not gonna be able to do it for no cost as long as you understand. He's like, no, that's good. He ended up buying. He had needed about $50 in parts.
Wow.
Well, he needed new tires. That's right there.
That's $40
we sell
right there.
inexpensive tires for $12 a piece. Yeah. So yeah. So that's $24 right there. And we kind of left as much as we could that would at least see if she's going to get into this a lot, and then we'll replace the chain. Chain wasn't stretched.
Yeah.
It was a little grubby, but it seemed fine.
a cassette of 5, or a
I think
freewheel.
it's a 2x5, I believe it was. Yeah.
So those chains you're not going through those every 1,000 miles,
no.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we did that. We did not overhaul hubs and bottom bracket and headset because he didn't have time. He wanted to get it done that day. Recabled it, so there's a little bit of cost there. Recabled it, new handlebar tape because that was torn and unraveling.
Yeah.
Trued the wheels, cleaned the wheels. Like I said, new tires. What else did we do, Mr. David Palan? Just a few, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, recabled. Oh, new brake pads. And he rolls it out of there at the end of the day with his mom's birthday present, ready to go. How cool is that?
So how many times do people come in with Schwinns, right?
Yes.
Perhaps not the Suburban or the Traveler, right?
Right.
But a Schwinn and think, this is a diamond in the rough.
Yes.
And more often it's rough.
Yeah.
No diamond.
Yeah.
Right?
This is. And
they come in with this, I want this bike to be as good as new.
Yeah.
And actually, when it was new, it wasn't that good. But right. Whatever it is.
Yeah, it's like a Schwinn Varsity or something with a one-piece crank and
And you say, hey, you have about $100 of work to make that thing.
Minimum, yeah.
Right? And they say, well, I only paid $20 for the bike. And it's like, yeah. And when
That's
you put $100 into it, you can have a bike that's worth about $80, right?
Exactly.
And then they get all discouraged and leave. But here's a guy that comes in with a Schwinn that is
a little bit
better than that,
yeah.
but understands and appreciates the fact that this is not going to, by doing this, I'm not going to turn it into a Trek Amanda.
right, exactly.
I just want to do something good for my mother.
So she can ride safely.
So she can ride safely.
Exactly.
Great.
Yep.
And willing to put the work in.
Yeah, he was there the whole time, right? Because we don't let no one, it's not a drop-off service.
Right,
because some people think that, right? Oh, here, can you guys fix this for me? I'll be back. I'm going to go get lunch.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
If you go get lunch.
Pick some up for us.
It's going to be sitting here just like this when you get back. Because that's not how this works, man. It's if you don't have money to invest, that's fine, but then you need to invest time.
Right.
It's that simple.
And money alone isn't going to do it either.
Right. Yes. So, well, if you have money to do it, then go to a bike shop.
Go somewhere else.
Go to a shop. Yeah. Support the local bike shops. Yeah. So,
I mean, that's one of the really cool things about Rebicycle Lenaway, to say the name out loud so everyone knows we're talking about.
Right.
Rebicycle Lenaway, that it doesn't really compete with the local bike shop per se.
Almost not.
These people, if they don't come to you, they're not going
riding.
to the local bike shop.
They're not riding. Right. If we don't help them, they're not riding the bike.
And they're coming to you not to, and you do get the occasional people that come in and work on nicer bikes. These people aren't the lycra clad folks that are out there to show everybody how fit they are. These are people that are bicycle commuters,
right,
and not necessarily by choice.
Yeah. It's their only mode of transportation. They use it to go to the laundromat. They use it to get groceries. They use it to get back and forth to the doctor. I mean, you name it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And they come in because they want to do a good thing for their mother.
That's right. Or sometimes they want to do.
Which is
so did I
nice.
tell you we put out one of those bike workstations in front of the shop?
One of the like really solidly built ones.
Yeah,
that
the
have-
costs they're really expensive.
Yeah,
and it was in the newspaper a couple weeks ago that it got vandalized for the third time.
Yeah. And it's funny, sort of funny, not really funny. I work at a store in Adrian, at a pharmacy in Adrian, and the technician had said something to me because he knows I'm a cyclist. He doesn't understand getting on your bike and riding across the state for some reason. I don't know. He's a runner. He's a runner and a basketball player, so he's athletic.
That's cool.
And that's all cool. He said to me, "Oh, did you know there was a bike co-op in Adrian that got vandalized, and they have these bikes that get stolen from in front of there?" And I said, "Yeah, the bikes that get stolen are kind of left out there. Not that they want them to be stolen per se, but they're kind of common use or whatever."
Yeah.
But so on the downside, you guys got vandalized again.
Yes.
On the upside, more people are now finding out about.
That's true, right? All
service
publicity is
that you
good
offer.
publicity, right? In
Sort
a way.
of, yeah.
So so we got to we're putting up just a security camera above. It's like, luckily it's right by the building, so we can put a security camera on top of the building.
Yeah.
That points right down at the stand.
Yeah.
And if it happens again, it's probably kids. I mean, let's face it. So,
Yeah.
but it's just you got to make these things like armored,
Right.
just to get by. Otherwise, people
And it's not, something like that. This is for the benefit of the community.
Yeah,
It's not for your benefit.
We actually put in two. So at the Kiwanis Trail, that goes from Adrian
right
to
by the shop,
Tecumseh,
by the store that I work in.
We actually put one at the trailhead there too.
Yeah.
We paid for by us, not the city.
Right.
They actually poured the
Concrete
concrete
pad
footing,
that it
the
fits
footing
in,
for it,
Yep.
but so they paid for that. And that's it. And then the rest was supplied. That one actually has not been vandalized yet. Because it's a little bit.
It's further away
harder
from
to
the city.
right,
and-
exactly.
yeah.
So
They have
we'll
to
see.
come and steal a bike from you guys to ride
ride
over to it to
that
vandalize
one,
it.
to
yeah.
then vandalize that one too. Exactly.
Yeah. No, those are really good. I know that in addition to Park makes one, and I think there's a couple others. But Bike, up in I think the UP, or they just up in Traverse City
I think
or
they're
something.
just up in the northern part of the Lower Peninsula.
Yeah, they are now making one as well.
That might be. Is that where we got ours? I can't remember because I wasn't involved in the purchasing of it. I can't remember where they ended up. I'm not on the board anymore, so I can't remember where they ended up getting it from. But yeah, it's cool. It has a pump.
Yep.
That's probably the most.
It's probably the most used
and to be honest,
piece of
that is the hardest part. That is the thing that the first two times got vandalized.
What'd they do to the pump?
They mess with the hose. They pull the hose, or they break the hose, or they cut the hose.
So I could see like pulling it or whatever accidentally, someone that doesn't know how to use it or whatever.
It takes
but when you cut it, it's pretty clear
and you can't just like accidentally pull it. I mean, you could have it attached to your bike and try and ride away, and it wouldn't break.
Okay.
Right? I mean,
so it's pretty sturdy.
Serious hose. Yeah. And it's only 5 feet long. I mean, it's just long enough to reach your wheels if your bike is up in the stand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So it's not like they have the hose out to their car at the sidewalk and
whipping it around.
Yeah.
No, it's intentional for sure. So, anyways,
So vandals, stop it.
stop it, you guys. It's always the pump part is the hardest part to keep working, and it's the one thing that can break, right? I mean, a 5mm Allen wrench is not going to break very often.
No,
I guess it could
gets
wear
stripped out, right?
Yeah, eventually, but so it's the thing that's the biggest pain is keeping the pump working, and it's like a foot pedal, so you hook it up and then you can like foot pump it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
Nice,
pretty
yeah.
cool. I mean, yeah. So, anyways, Mr. Dave Penn, that's what I'm working on.
that's what you're working on. Yeah.
Well, I worked on the guy with his mom's bike, which I just thought was cool. One, it's cool that we were there to do that. I got to do that.
Yeah.
And help someone do that. But it's also just cool that that kid was doing that, for his mom in the first place, and that was her birthday present. So
Yeah. Have you heard back from him?
well, this was just Saturday.
Oh,
It is. What are you working on? It's supposed to be the last.
I know, but sometimes
I didn't work on anything yesterday.
no.
No, I went to the casino and.
You went to the casino.
Well, that was my mother-in-law's birthday present. Speaking of that.
I was gonna say that must be a present
She
for
likes
somebody because you're not a casino
no,
guy.
I'm not a gambler, but I had fun watching her. I had more fun watching her than I do playing myself.
Yeah.
It was just that. It was so. Anyways,
Yeah.
we have to talk about. Remember, we had this thing called the April CX Challenge.
Oh. When did we do that?
In
I don't
April.
remember. Oh, yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're going to, just to give the viewers an update, Michelle and Matt were the two winners that we decided
Michelle
upon.
Hance and Matt Henderson.
Yes. And so just to give an update, what we're going to do is Michelle is riding DK.
Correct.
Coming up. So we're going to wait to have her on the show till after DK because then she's going to be able to tell us about DK.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really cool.
I really want to hear about her tubeless setup that she's got going.
Is that, maybe I missed that.
On the Instagram, I think it may have been yesterday, she had a picture of her doing some repairs on.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's what's going to go on with her. We got that lined up, and we don't have it like the exact date lined up, but we're just going to wait till post DK because she's locked into concentrating on that too. So, and Matt, we're thinking about. He is going to actually be, and this will be a good segue, Mr. David Palan. He is going to be at. There's a 2 cyclocross World Cups in the U.S. this year again.
Since when?
For a few years now.
Okay.
And there's
any of them in the Midwest?
There's this one. They're both in the Midwest. Imagine that.
What?
No, not East Coast.
No.
Midwest. Where's the best cyclocross in the United States? In the Midwest.
In the Midwest.
It's like crickets. So anyways, there's one at this. There's this bike company. Trek,
I've heard of it.
Yeah, so
they make track bikes.
They make all bikes. I think. Is there a type of bike Trek does not make?
No, they make e-bikes
Do
now.
they make a folding bike?
Perhaps not.
They might not,
Perhaps
but I haven't.
not.
I mean, I haven't perused their entire. And they make so much stuff. It'd be hard to.
Yeah. That's the one bike you don't have in the basement. I'm sure there is a Trek bike you don't have in your basement yet.
I have sold 2 bikes in the 2 weeks
way.
ago. I sold 2 bikes. I sold my my Mark Nobilette.
Oh,
and I sold my Austria Daimler.
No, the Austria Daimler, okay, but the Nobilette went to somebody that can really appreciate it.
Gary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he knew what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, he was kind of on the fence, and I said to him, "Have you ever seen another one?" And he's like, "Damn it, no."
Yeah.
All right, I'm taking it. Yeah. So so Matt is going to be at the Trek race.
Nice.
And for people who have not heard the wonderful,
I think we're breaking news here.
I don't
Do
know.
we have a breaking news? Nope. Nope. Nope.
It's peanut butter.
There we go.
Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at?
So for
I'm going to force you to edit this.
For people who have that's staying in. For people who have not heard, Wide Angle Podium is a sponsor of a World Cup, of a cyclocross World Cup.
It's the little podium that could, right?
Exactly. It's the wide podium that could. It's a little wide podium.
A little wide podium.
Here's the thing, guys. So when we ask you and just plead for the very small percentage of people that actually go to the website and become members and subscribe, that small percentage of people, this is what you are doing. With that, you know what? This is what.
So let's tell them what they're doing.
This is what that money is helping to accomplish. Yeah, the Trek.
We will be at Trek in the VIP village.
Yes, Wide Angle Podium is sponsoring the race.
Yeah, we will have a tent.
I mean,
in a podcasting area.
Yeah, so we're going to be in
official podcasters of Trek CXC.
We're going to be centrally located in under the big top. We're going to have most of the Wide Angle Podium show hosts are going to be there, if not all. I don't know yet. I mean, it's still a little ways away.
Yep.
So, I mean, I know the Slow Ride guys will be there. I know Bill will be there. I know we will be there.
The Gravel Lot.
I know the Gravel Lot guys will be there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the only I don't know if Consummate Athlete, who's coming from Consummate Athlete. I'm sure Molly's. I mean,
true.
I would if I was betting, I would bet that she's coming.
We got to hang out. Dr. Tracy Berman from Superman USA Ambassador Program will be there.
Hey, she's been on the show.
She has.
So anyways, we're going to have recording that's going on there for sure.
Yep.
With all our Wide Angle Podium setup. So what we set up with Matt as one of the winners of the April 6th Challenge is at some point during that race weekend, he's going to sit down with you and I, Mr. David Palan, and we're going to record our segment with him live. Well, he'll be with us. He won't be via Skype or something. So we'll be face-to-face with him, talking to him, and be able to, we're going to do that then. And even though it's a little ways away, that's fine. People will still remember April, I think, in September.
For sure.
So,
yeah.
So
that's I bet we'll get Mr. Voice of American Cyclocross to come in and talk to us.
Oh, that's a given.
And Yenzi, I'm sure Jens Vogt
well,
will be there.
That's what's probably going to happen. I mean, we're going to have access.
Are we going to allow Sven on?
I don't know. Should we?
I don't know.
Will people know who he is?
Depends on his costume.
Depends on his costume. But I think there's going to be some wide-angle podium racing racing in the
at least in the Legends race.
What do they call it there? The Legends race.
Yeah,
yes, because you guys are all legends. I'm not going to race, but you guys are all legends. So you guys can
you're going to race.
I should work the pit for everybody.
There you go. We all come in single
file. You
file.
really mess with me and all come in at once.
And all yell something different. Up 2 pounds, 3 pounds.
3 pounds, new rear wheel.
Clean my chains.
I can't shift.
Repack my bottom bracket.
So, oh my God, this is going to be a blast.
Indeed.
And once again, like I was saying, if you are a subscriber, if you have donated to the network, this is what your money does.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So if you ride a Trek, if you've heard of Trek, if you ever want to go to Trek, now is your chance to go to Trek and donate to Wide Angle Podium.
Tim is flying up from Florida. So if he's doing
that's practically a whole country away from us.
If he's doing that, right. If you live in Canada, even though it's another country, you're closer than Tim is in Florida. Yeah. So there you go. So yes, come and say hi. The van will be there, but the van will be parked somewhere probably. We're going to have our tent space, I think, where all this show stuff will be happening, so we don't have to do it from the van again. But you never know. Who knows what might happen. So you'll be able to see that. You'll be able to find us, I'm sure. And we're going to have all kinds of cool people to talk to. I think it's still up in the air whether or not we're going to be doing a live show,
right? Where
we're actually recording it with an audience or anything like that. There will be some recording going on there for sure because we're going to be doing something. I know that.
We did that 3 years ago.
Yeah, we've sat at the table in the dining area and recorded there. We've sat at the van last year. Remember, we recorded at the van last year. So
we got Dr. Sonny Gilbert in the van last year.
Yes, and I'm sure Sonny will be there.
Indeed.
We should. This year we should have Doug on, her husband.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Doug
likes to be in the background, I think.
Well,
he's not the forward-facing.
Yeah, Doug will be on.
Yeah,
we can coax him in that. Yeah. Doug is really solid, really good mechanic, man,
and a solid guy too. He's like one of the.
He's got the head for mechanic too, right? He's very calm. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
he's like very calm. He doesn't get. He doesn't get rattled, right? It's just like so. Yeah, he's a great mechanic. So,
and I think Brett from DNA Cycling in that big black what do they call his DNA? You know who I'm talking about?
No,
Brett Evans.
Oh no, I don't know.
Yeah, the Death Star. He's got that big black Sprinter too. That's all packed out.
Cool.
And
yeah.
That'll be cool to see him out there.
So I mean, it's going to be awesome. If you are on the fence about coming to Trek, I hope this pushes you over to the
dark side.
You're definitely coming side because it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I think it's going to be so much fun this year.
And as much as we are good hosts,
yes,
and you should come to talk to us,
yes.
Trek is an amazing host. They do factory tours and they make people available. Their course is great.
I feel a little guilty right now because the only Trek I currently own is my one that I bought in my road bike, my original road bike.
Yeah.
That I bought in the 80s.
Like the 150 or whatever it was.
It's the 560, Trek 560.
Right.
That I've turned into a single speed and had to repaint it because it's just the paint started, it doesn't last forever. So
you got to bring that with you.
Here's what I got to do.
You bring it with you and bring it over to the paint The painters, the schemes, those guys, the paint that those guys do is amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Well, it does still have the Trek head tube badge on, and I left the Waterloo sticker. That got masked off so that the new paint didn't cover that. And it's you can still tell it says Trek on the seat stay, the top of the seat stay.
Right.
So
the old style Trek.
Yeah, it's an old. I think it's only made out of like Reynolds 501 or something. So it's not a top end Reynolds, but man, I loved that.
I had a Trek 2300.
Okay.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
The original carbon bike almost, right? With carbon tubes fused to aluminum lugs.
OCLV. Did it say OCLV on it somewhere? There's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many.
It doesn't say OCVX on it. I know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Or OVCX. I know it doesn't say that.
So, I have a few months. I might have to buy a Trek between now and then.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I work at a specialized shop, and we do not carry Trek.
Right. Of course.
Right. There are some shops out there that carry both. We're not one of them. But I am so tempted at every cyclocross race that I am now watching on the computer thanks to Trek.
Yeah.
Every time Chad Brown puts out how geek they are about cyclocross.
Exactly.
I always feel compelled to buy a Trek. So yes, your advertising is working.
Yeah. So anyways, there's a lot going to happen between now and then. We'll keep you guys updated. But please, if you're thinking about it, get out there because we want to meet everybody. And there's going to be some merch, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
that we need to get together with.
We got to do something, Mr. David. We cannot be
Texas, maybe.
We cannot be a slacker and not have any kind of T-shirt or socks or anything for people. Stickers.
Stickers. You got to reprint those.
Do you want a Bike Shop CX coffee mug? Here, give me your coffee mug. Here, stick it on, and there you go. Now
that's the fancy one I have.
All right, so
we'll speak more about coffee later.
Speaking of coffee, let's talk about it now. What is in your coffee mug?
I came here totally unprepared this morning.
I had to full select you up.
I didn't even have my Bike Shop CX coffee mug.
No, you didn't.
I came in, please, sir, may I have another? And you hooked me up right away. You could see that look in my eyes of like bloodshot, faraway glare.
Right.
And you're like, you, sir, no, you never call me sir.
No.
You, Mr. David Palan, you are in need of the full Schleck.
Yes.
And here I am, happy and
that is
go lucky.
That is compliments of Dr. Tracy Berman. I'm still working on that bag. So I already had my cup, so.
Yeah, and now I know you're down to one cup.
I'm down to 1 cup a day.
And you're sticking with that.
I'm sticking with it. It's a big cup still, but that's okay.
Some people call that a carafe, but yeah.
Right. So for people that don't know what we're talking about, get over to GrimpeurBrothers.com or WideAnglePodium.com, and there's a link to Grimpeur Brothers. And you can buy there's 2 coffees that Dan makes over there that support the Wide Angle Podium Network. One is what Mr. David Palin mentioned, the full Schleck. The other is Hello Cyclocross Friends. You buy either one of those. It helps support the network. It helps support the show. And we really, really appreciate it. Dan appreciates it. And
your taste buds appreciate it.
Your taste buds appreciate it. And again, by buying stuff like that, you are supporting someone who has a history and has shown they are in with cyclocross, right? They are supporting the sport. Dan does huge amounts of stuff to help the sport and to keep it going, and it's awesome. So by buying that coffee, not only are you getting great coffee, you're supporting something that's supporting this sport, including this show, including Dan. So we can't ask you enough. Get over there and buy some of that coffee. It really, really helps. So,
and good luck to Dan next week. He'll be in Kansas.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. I forgot about that. Man, that's next week already.
It is. Yeah. Good luck, Dan. And of course, show regulars and friends of the podcast. Amanda Nauman, Amanda Panda,
good
and
Amanda,
Dizzle will be out there racing his first DK.
Is he racing that?
He is.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's
breaking out the Niner with the SDG components.
Right.
He will be out there for sure.
All right. Well, so we'll I'm sure, and we'll be talking about that with Michelle when we have her on too to see what and we're pulling for
to see what point she passed Drew Dizzleman, right?
If she could do that, she's gonna be have a good place.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Because Drew will be up in the front runners, I think. I
think so.
Unless he double flats again. God.
Yeah.
So
He'll be sitting on the EF Education First wheels.
He was in the front group of 4.
Yeah.
And double flatted.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So anyway,
he needs a better mechanic.
Chico. So what else was I going to say, Mr. Dan?
I don't know. We're live though. You can't stumble. No stumbling. Check your notes.
No stumbling.
I think we go to the outline now, right?
What do you mean the outline? No, we just talked about our coffee. So, all right. Anyways, we're going to get on. We're not having our tech topic this week. We're going to go to questions. Are you ready to go to questions, Mr.
Let's go to
David?
questions. That means I need to bring up the questions.
Do you want me to read the first question?
Yeah, you read it.
All right. The first question is from Dr. Finn. It's kind of a long one, so I'm going to jump around a little bit here because it's like, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 6 paragraphs long. So we're not
a lot of paragraphs.
This entire thing. So, but he says, dear Mr. Scott Diedenbach and Mr. David Palan. He threw in a Mr. for me as well.
He's very generous.
He realizes that by not calling me Mr., he's kind of,
the chances of his question getting read on the air is very low. Yeah.
Exactly. I've been enjoying the off season with wheel building and tubular gluing. 2 good things to be doing in the off season.
Yeah.
There's one detail about the gluing up process you haven't mentioned. Oh man.
The inhalation?
You need to time the application of the coats of glue to the rim and tire just right. And he spelled tire with a Y, so
we know where he's coming from.
where he's coming from. So that the day of the final mounting coincides with a fresh episode of Bike Shop CX to deliver that can-do tech confidence that your show instills.
Oh, please.
See, no matter how you greet us, if you start with a paragraph like that, you're probably going to get it read on the
He's going to ask for something now, I know.
We're only reading emails from now on that praise us in the first. Okay, so he goes on. What? I hear you cry. You're gluing tubulars in April. They are for this summer, not for next winter. Yes, people do glue tubulars for things other than cyclocross bikes. That's important.
We talked about this on the previous show. For commuter bikes, people do tubular commuter bikes.
Yeah. So he says, this is up your alley, Mr. David Palan.
Yeah.
These are for the summer, not for next winter. I'm racing mountain bike cross country on tubs.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
I was at a local bike shop, and since I like a bargain, I was looking through the bargain bucket and saw that they were selling a pair of Tufo XC2 26-inch tubulars. That got me thinking about whether there are any tubular rims available for 26-inch mountain bike wheels. A quick question on terminology. Here in the UK, rims for tubulars are called sprint rims. Does this term just refer to 700C tubulars, or can you call a 26-inch tubular rim a sprint rim too? I have no idea.
That's a Sean Lally question.
Yeah, we should ask Sean Lally from Cycle Systems Academy, who, by the way, I feel bad because I don't know the link. He's doing, those webinars that
they're free.
They're free.
Free.
Go to Cycle Systems Academy's website.
Yes.
Go look up when the dates. They're still, I think they've only done 1, and they're doing like 6.
Yep.
Go check those out.
Because we talked when we originally spoke with Sean. Years ago.
Yeah.
We both said, how cool would this be? If we ever get to the UK, we have to pay to take that course.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Oh, I would. Yeah.
And now available for free.
Is Sean doing a teaching session on a webinar about various
topics? I mean, it's not just like one teaser thing that says, okay, now you have to come in.
Yeah.
Complete topic.
If you want to learn, if you want to like solidify something that you know that you don't know well enough about bike mechanics, go to Cycle Systems Academy website. I'm sure it's on there, and check it out. You won't, you'll watch one and be like, dang, I'm sorry I missed the first one of these.
Right. Yeah. But the question is, do they call them sprint rims?
So I don't know. Yeah. Well, that's Sean.
It's probably in there.
Tufo have a whole wheel system for their tires, but these are for disc brakes, and I can't stop using Canties.
My man.
After searching on eBay, I found some NOS Wolber TR1 rims. I bought a pair, and they look great, and they're from... Is there a question in here?
I'm not sure that we get to a question, but it is interesting because this is so bike mechanic, so us, right?
Right.
Where did this start? In the bargain bin.
Right.
Okay, so now, first of all, there's those Tufo tires. There's a reason those 26-inch tubular mountain bike tires are in the bargain bin. And now we're getting explained why it's not such a bargain, because now I got to buy some tubular sprint rims.
Right. What's the saying? The most expensive bike I own is the one I got for free?
Yeah. Exactly. There we go. Okay, so
This is
let's keep
similar
going.
with-
Keep going. We were going to paraphrase, but no chance
So
now.
he goes on. If I fast forward down to the last question, to the last paragraph.
No, you have to grab this one, though. I went back to the local bike shop to get the bargain bucket pair of tubulars, but someone had bought them already.
So now I have the rims but no tires. But now I was committed.
Yeah.
I bought one full price to see if it fit. In the meantime, building up the rims onto some nice XTR hubs. The tire fit spot on, as it should. I thought that your viewers would be interested to hear that they can run modern tubulars on these NOS Wolber rims for the yeah. I mean, if it's as long as it's a 559 26-inch,
Right,
there's
yeah.
no reason why
Right.
they shouldn't fit perfectly. Yeah. There's got to be a lot of people itching to ride 26-inch XC bikes if only they could find tubulars to fit, right? I know Challenge toyed with that idea of 26-inch tubulars for a while. They actually made some. I saw
The fat bike tubulars.
some. I saw some prototypes.
Yeah.
I don't know if they ever came into production. Maybe I have not looked at Challenge's website in months, so they might actually be on there now. I have to go check. We did a lot of reading for nothing.
This is the FAQ. It's the question with no answer.
With no answer.
This is the Q not A
just
section
a lot
of the show.
26-inch tubular reading there.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go on to the next one. This one is from Leo from Minneapolis.
Minnesota. Greetings, Mr. DP and SD.
So, in a way, he called me Mr. in that one, too.
Sure.
He said Mr. DP. Okay, go ahead. Well, then we can continue.
You get really wrapped into this. I know.
Well, people put a lot of thought into those greetings sometime. We got to make sure we mention them. All right, go ahead.
In light of your recent shows, both about torque and about bottom brackets, I have a question about both. First, a comment. I learned that while FSA and Shimano Holotech 2 BBs are both nominally comparable with compatible with 24 millimeter spindles, they do not always play well together in real world. As a result of using whatever I have on the shelf when building a bike, I had a Mega Exo bottom bracket with Dura Ace crank on my road bike and this FSA SLK carbon crank in an Altegra bottom bracket on my gravel bike. They both worked, but the FSA needed some rubber mallet on the way in. Unfortunately, it needed a lot more to come back out. I ended up using a block of wood and a big metal hammer to force it out. There was a little blue O-ring on the drive side that got shredded in the process. So here is the first question. Do I need that little O-ring? What's it for?
Do you want to answer that?
Let's start there.
Yeah, that's like a seal,
Yeah.
right? To keep junk out.
I mean, it's on a gravel bike. What kind of junk could get in?
Yeah, it's recommended. I would get another one. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reinstalling FSA cranks on my new Fixie Cross build. Fixed Gear CX is the next big thing. Mark my words.
I think he might be right in that.
You know what? Squid Bikes would agree with that.
Yes.
With the Mega Exo bottom bracket, I decided to heed your recent episode and use a torque wrench.
Ta-da!
The bolt head is marked with 450 to 550 kilogram
KGF centimeters.
Yes.
Yeah.
A quick internet search says that's about 50 Newton meters.
Yes.
I started pushing and found that 50 Newton meters felt huge, as someone from Vermont might say. By about 30 to 35 Newton meters, the bottom bracket began to feel tight and the cranks no longer spun. What is the deal? Oh, no longer spun freely.
Right.
So I stopped. Haven't gone further, so I can't say how it rides.
Haven't gone further. Okay.
What's the deal?
What's the deal?
It is the used bottom bracket out of my other bike. I've paired like manufacturers, but it was working smoothly in that application. What gives? I know it's almost so simple it seems silly, but maybe that's why it's confusing me. Thanks for your entertaining and informative show, Leo.
Leo from Minneapolis. So this happens all the time. I mean, when you're dealing with, I think what's probably going on with Leo here is the bottom bracket shells. Yes, it's a standard. The width, the shell.
Right.
I'm talking the shell on
Shell
the
width,
frame.
right? Yeah.
but they're not all identical. They are
You
not
mean
all
a standard in the bike world is not a standard?
They are not all perfectly
Right.
exact.
How many times has it been faced or chased?
Who knows?
Or
Yeah.
raced.
So you've obviously got something is pushing on your bearings.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be. Because your bearings aren't turning. So
That would be a sign.
So something is pressing on them
Yeah.
as you get tighter.
Maybe it's the blue O-ring from the other bike.
Exactly. You need to figure that out. What do you have for spacers in there?
Yeah.
If you have I bet you have a spacer in there that for some reason doesn't need to be there, because you should be tightening that FSA crank should just tighten against itself, and there's something in there that is pushing against the bearings as you get
or not, right? It could be that there's something missing. Not that he has to take out a spacer, but there's a spacer missing, so it doesn't come. It's squeezing against the frame before it's compressing against itself.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But there's something wrong, right? And I know it. And this is what happens when you start mixing stuff like this. Yes, It seems like, oh, this should work. It
worked
should
in
be
the other
easy.
bike.
Everything should be the same, but the reality is it's not. This is the thing when I tell anybody, people come and they're like, I want to build a custom bike.
Right.
Okay. Let's make a list of this is everything I'm going to need. I'm like, no, it's not, because there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to need that you don't even know you're going to need
until you get into it,
until you start assembling it. And just like, when the bikes that we build before cyclocross season, right? It's not like a bike in a box, right? You get a Niner or Focus or whatever stock, and it comes in a box, and guess what?
You attach the handlebars
everything
and you're good to go.
They know everything works together, the frame, everything. But when someone hands you a frame and says, okay, I'm sponsored by Easton, and I'm sponsored this part by SRAM, and this by and I'll put this all together and make it work. This kind of stuff happens all the time.
So I guess the question that I usually break down and call you, but what the answer I think that perhaps Leo really needs is,
you gotta.
What do you do now?
Yeah.
Do you back it out a little bit where it fins freely, where it spins freely, and ride it, or is it important enough that you're going to do damage if you?
Yeah, you got to figure out. You need to torque it to the 50 newton meters if unless there's something, or you got to find a different crank, right?
Okay.
There's something that's if that crank is somehow pinching somewhere on the frame, maybe where you can't get it to work or can't use it for whatever reason, then you're gonna have to use a different crank.
Okay.
You should not run that not torqued to the manufacturer spec. I wouldn't. What anybody does on their own bike is up to them, but I certainly wouldn't recommend anybody ever doing that. So what I would do is take it back out and really look at why something is pushing on the bearing somewhere. You have to figure out what that is. If it's as simple as a spacer that doesn't need to be there, or maybe sometimes you move it to the other side, but there's all kinds of little tricks, and maybe you just need a smaller spacer. Maybe you got a 2 mil in there, and a 1 mil is all you need, and when you put the one, now you have another millimeter of space, and then you can tighten it to 50 and everything's great. Who knows? There's all kinds of stuff like that could be, but you have to really take it apart, really look at where is it pressing on these bearings, and take it apart slowly. Examine every part as you take it apart. See if you can figure out what's rubbing on the bearings, and go from there. And then make changes and go and continue on. But I would not ride it if I can't get it torqued to the manufacturer's spec. One
other recommendation or question that I would throw into the mix here. How are you using a torque wrench? Because to get it to 50 newton meters, you're not talking about the TW 1.2 or whatever from Park.
Yeah,
where,
you need a large torque wrench.
It's a large torque wrench.
Yeah.
And to the bottom brackets, sometimes you got to use the adapters to move to a torque wrench from a, whatever, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Like a crow's foot or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in some cases, because you don't use that large torque wrench very often around bikes, maybe this has been sitting around for a long time. Do we know that the torque wrench is within spec? So those are some questions that would all play into it, but I would agree.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It is a thing to check your torque wrench. Make sure you're torquing it properly, and that the 50 is a realistic.
Yeah,
it is a real 50 or close to a real 50. And go from there. But
And I think he's getting the rub before he even got close. Cause
Yeah, if he's only at 30, 35.
About 30 to 35. Because most of the bottom brackets I've dealt with are 40.
Yes.
Right.
That's the most common. Campy a lot of times goes up to 50.
Because it's campy.
Or bottom bracket cups, they go to
yeah.
50. Well, campy does things a little different.
Yes, they do it
No,
Italian.
I was really hard for me to not say better, but All right. Well, Leo, I hope that helped a little bit. I know there's really, without seeing it and seeing what's going on, we can't get more specific than that, really. But I think if you take that back apart and check it, you'll be able to get that back together. But I would not torque it to the manufacturer spec. But yeah, checking your torque wrench and making sure you're doing everything properly there to make sure that's an accurate 50 is a really good point. So, all right. The next one is Robert. Robert says, hello. Thanks for the amazing podcasts. I love them, especially the Tech Talk. Then, so of course, we're not doing that this week.
Sorry, Robert.
Maybe we'll do 2 next week. Listening to an issue from a couple years ago, you were discussing the difference between long and short pull brakes, and you end up saying that most mechanical disc brakes are long pull. I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
I have a pair of TRP Spike and TRP Spire mechanical disc brakes, which in my opinion are the best mechanical disc brakes available as they are dual piston. I believe in that same show we said the same thing.
I think we did. In particular, Spires, I think we were very high on at that point.
The Spikes are long pull mountain bike disc brakes, and the Spire are short pull road discs. I've confirmed this with TRP. Yes. Why do you think they carried on a tradition of long pull for mountain bike and short pull for road/drop bars on their mechanical disc brakes? What the heck is the point of that? Thank you for the great show and for your time, Robert. Well, Mr. David Palan, what's the point of that? So this is a really complicated thing, and we've gone over this a few times on the show.
Are you chastising Robert?
No, not at all, Robert, not at all. But it's like we talk about long pull and short pull brakes as if there's 2 different kinds, right? As if there's 2 pull distances.
Okay.
To measure the pull distance, you measure, just to go over it, you go from the pivot point of the brake lever to the center of where the brake cable attaches. That's your pull.
Pivot of the brake lever.
Right.
To the
center of where the brake cable is going to be.
Okay.
And there we make it, because we call long pull short pull, we make it sound like there's two lengths, right? that make that. But the reality is there's all different kinds.
There's ranges, right?
There is no line drawn on any piece of paper anywhere that says if you are to the left of this line, you are long pull. If you are to the right of this line, you are short pull.
Right.
Some people have done that, so I shouldn't say there isn't, but they're just doing that because that's what they've decided. Okay.
Right.
So the reality is how the bike manufacturers are making their stuff is they are selecting brakes and brake levers that work well together. They are dialing in what they want for the feel of their brakes on their bike.
Right.
Okay.
And the feel is different, I wouldn't imagine, because I'm not a big disc brake guy yet.
That's starting to
happen.
That wall is starting to crumble.
There's a difference in the drop bar setup and a flat bar setup.
Well, yes.
And how much pull you have before the brake is actuated, and the situations you're going to be riding those 2 different bikes.
Traditionally, long pull is on flat bars and short pull is on drop bars. I mean, that's just traditionally. There are exceptions. You can, of course, get long pull levers for drop bars. A lot of people are using them when they're running the mini V brakes on their cyclocross bike, which is awesome. Right. I love that. So there are some, or you can use what's the travel agent that Problem Solvers makes to, and what the travel agent does is it corrects this ratio, short pull to long pull, and can make so that you can use short pull levers and get a long pull feel.
Right.
So the problem is if you use short pull levers with long pull brakes, you get a really weird mushy feel on the brakes.
Yeah, because it doesn't get nearly as much cable pull.
Right. And and then if you do the opposite, you'll get like the grabby brakes, right, where they don't do anything and then grab, right? You don't get any modulation. So why do I think they carried on with the tradition of long pull for mountain and short pull for road? it's because of the type of riding, right? You want the more travel on the mountain bike simply because, and this is mechanical brakes, right? With hydraulics, it's kind of changed a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Hydraulics give such good modulation, anyways.
I've heard
and
that.
Such a mechanical advantage, and it's just that so that you get a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for, Mr. David Palan? You get better control of the braking under real specific circumstances in mountain bike with the long pull setups.
Right.
You don't need that on a road bike.
No.
Right?
No.
You need
Who brakes on a road bike?
Mountain bikes tend to be short, quick, intense braking.
Mm-hmm.
Road bikes tend to be long periods of long braking.
It's more feathering, right?
Yes,
Just scrub a little speed off,
scrubbing
whatever.
speed, or if you're coming down a really long mountain descent, you got these. You might be braking the whole time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have long. You're never going to be braking on a mountain bike for 20, 30 minutes at a time, right? You're just not going to do that. So it's because of the different styles.
Have you ever ridden with Dr. Tracy Berman?
It's because of the different styles that they've kind of kept it that way. And the other answer to this question is it's the bike industry. You're asking me
It's a standard.
You're asking me to explain that? Or?
No.
So there you go, Robert. This is one of these things that evolved in the bike industry over a long period of time, and it's just continuing on the way it is for all kinds of reasons. And it comes down to a lot of times, Mr. Dave Palin, it's just too difficult to change it at this point. I mean,
they have to make new dies and new machines and new terminology.
Right. So I hope that kind of answers your question. And Robert, and thank you for going back that far and listening.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo. Go all the way back. I don't even know our total number of shows because we've restarted our numbering system so many times.
Yeah.
And by the way, Mr. David Penn, we forgot to mention last week that it was our 50th Wide Angle Podium show.
What?
Totally forgot that, didn't we?
Oh, and that's like the wide angle podium of shows. Times 10.
That's right. There we go. So, all right, we're going to continue on. This is from Jan.
Jan.
Yeah, I think we've read questions from Jan before, haven't we?
I know we have interacted with him on the
he's
socials.
A big Twitter
he's
user.
a huge Twitter user.
He says, "Dear Scott D and Mr. David P." He didn't say Mr. Scott. Darn it.
He said dear. You're dear to him.
For some reason, Jan says, seriously, though, it's because I think he sent us another email.
That wasn't so serious.
I
think that is true.
And he wanted to separate them into separate emails.
This is the serious, though, email.
That's good. I bought a new mountain bike last year, and it came with Suntour SR Xeron cranks, which seemed to be fine. The only problem is that the chainring is loose. And apparently it uses a completely different tool to tighten from other cranks. What's up with that? Does every manufacturer have their own special tool for that? So I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about because he says chain rings, and then he talks about the crank. So what the chainring bolts, if you're talking about the chainring bolts, yes, they could definitely. Chainring bolts are whatever brand you buy. You can use, just because you have a Shimano crank, it's just like a lot of stuff, right? You don't have to buy Shimano chainring bolts.
Right.
In fact, the Shimano ones with those two little slots that you try and put the tool on to loosen are a disaster.
Right.
It's why everybody got away from doing that, because they get corroded, especially in a mountain bike or a gravel bike or a cross bike, something that gets dirty a lot. They're a disaster. A lot of companies are using a double hex setup, so you can use a 6 on one side and a 5 on the other, and that works really well. You get a really good bite on it, and you can unscrew it. So if you're talking about chain ring bolts, the chance that they have their own, they're using some proprietary brand that has their own, is certainly possible. You know, that there's some brand that has their own wrench that you're supposed to use. If it were me, I'd get rid of those and use something that's a standard.
Just drill them out.
You could find a set of, wolf tooth or something that are a 5 and 6 and use those. That's what I like. And if they're loose because those chainring bolts are loose, that could be one thing. If they're loose and the bolts are tight
because they're too long,
it could be. It's probably because the bolts are too long.
And here's the A thing, perhaps not the thing, but here is a thing. It's not all standard.
They're not all the same length.
Right.
No. Chainring bolts are not all the same.
Yeah.
So you can't just grab some and throw them in a crank and think everything's okay, because, they may be longer than the ones, and sometimes there's spacers in there. So it's it can be a real headache.
Like if you were converting a 2x setup to a 1x setup,
you got to get different chainring bolts.
You got to get
can't,
and the
or
spacer.
put a spacer in there to make it up. Yes, but that's the most common example is when people are using a double ring crank to go to a single ring, and they go put those on there, and they're tight, but the ring is
they
not
flop
tight
back and
at all.
forth, right? Yeah.
So
that helps to keep the chain line right. It just travels with the chain. Yeah.
So that's certainly possible there, Jan. Probably if it takes some tool that it's really hard to find and you can't find it, I think David might be right. You might have to drill them, which would really be bad. And then just
use a Dremel. If you're going to be drilling these things out, use a Dremel and start, even if you have to start particularly small, but don't go too small, because once you drill through and then you try to get to that just next size up, if it doesn't work, they start spinning in there. Yeah. And that can cause other problems.
Yeah, it can be a pain, for sure.
It's a little bit tricky.
For sure. So hopefully you'll just find the tool that you need and it'll come out.
Okay.
There you go. Second, I've ordered a new cross bike for this year. Always a good thing.
Yes.
A 2018 Norco Threshold C, and I've turned my old 2011 Ridley X-Fire into my training bike. Since I don't have a road bike anymore, I sold that Colnago to someone willing to repair the frame. Oh, that's so in the first email that Jan sent us, he tells us about he's the one with the broken Colnago. Right. It fit her better anyway. I'm just riding the X-Fire. The problem is that after about 90 minutes, I feel really beat up. My back hurts, and pedaling hard becomes a lot more difficult because I feel so worn out. I used to be able to get through at least 3 to 4 hours on my road bike before feeling nearly that bad. I'll still set up. It's still set up as a CX bike, though I've swapped out the saddle for something more roadworthy, and I'm wondering if a refit is going to help or if it's a bit of a lost cause. That is the setup the problem, or is it a stiff carbon CX bike just not meant to be comfortable? I kept the CX tires on it around 30 to 40 PSI. The bike feels fine to pedal at the beginning, and I don't feel particularly cramped or stretched out. David, thoughts on fit?
Time for you call refit, but time for a fit.
Yeah,
and it's time for a fit, especially, and I know we've talked about this before. When I went to New England for a year and a half, I brought one bike with me, and that was the Colnago. Put road wheels in it or cross wheels in it, swapped them out, and we did long road rides.
Yeah.
Your cross bike should not be beating you up simply because it is stiff.
It's simply because it's a cross bike. Yeah.
Simply because it's a cross bike.
I agree.
Something else going on there.
There's no reason why a cross bike shouldn't feel wonderful on the road.
And at 30 to 40 PSI,
it should feel really wonderful.
Yeah, you shouldn't be feeling the road coming through that bike.
No. So I agree. I think that's a total fit issue, and I would go get that refit. It's not something wrong with the bike, I don't think. And he says, I hate wrenching. What? I always bring my bike to the LBS. That's good.
Okay.
And I'll probably never do the wheel billing challenge.
It's okay. I mean, just put it out there.
That's right.
Put it out there. Own it.
But I love the show. I enjoy every episode, even if I'm seriously never going to put 90% of the stuff you talk about into practice. Thanks, Jan. See, Jan, it's viewers like you that make the show awesome, though.
Yeah,
right?
We appreciate your honesty,
Exactly.
your directness.
Well, and then the point of the show, I mean, I think probably most people that listen are in that same boat. You know,
yeah.
It's not meant to be like, oh, I got to do everything these guys talk about. It's to get to listen to people talking about working on bikes. You don't have to necessarily do everything.
Yeah,
but the wheel build challenge, I would encourage you.
We would talk to you about that, Jan.
I would encourage you to do the wheel build challenge, and Jan, if you can, get to the Trek CX race this year.
We'll see you there.
Yes.
Because if I'm not mistaken, Jan is our neighbor to the north, right?
Is he in Canada?
I think he is.
I know he corrected us on, because we kept saying mountain bike nationals were in, or mountain bike worlds were in Ontario.
Yeah.
He was like, why do you guys keep saying that?
Oops.
No, yeah. I said because living in Michigan, in Detroit, we think of all of Canada as Ontario.
Canada is synonymous with Ontario.
Right. All right, Mr. David Palan, do you have life insurance?
It's funny you should ask. I do.
So do I.
You do?
So one of our sponsors on the show, as always, what these guys have been doing has just been amazing. HealthIQ.com. Go to healthiq.com/WAP. Take the survey. If you score elite, you get better rates on your life insurance.
And you will score elite. It's your show
probably will
listeners. You're
score
our
it.
viewers.
Yeah. So it's not that hard. We should all have life insurance.
It's important.
It's important. It's one of the first. When I was financially solvent back in my when I stopped living like paycheck to paycheck.
Yes.
And I could afford a few other little things. One of the first things I did was get life insurance.
It's that important.
In my 20s.
It really is.
Yeah. So
and the younger you get it,
it's cheaper. It's
the
less.
cheaper
The payments
it is.
are a lot less. So the best thing you can do is get a good life insurance as early as possible. And this is a way you can do it, because if you are an active person, Health IQ is saying, hey, we're not gonna these people are working at this, right? They're staying healthy, right? They're staying healthy. We're gonna make that save them money, not us.
We will share the wealth.
Exactly. We're gonna give them a better rate on life insurance. So it's just, there's no excuse not to do it. Get over to healthiq.com. Don't forget the /WAP, because then they know that we sent you.
Right.
We get credit for it.
That helps us.
That helps us and helps the network. And just go check it out. That's all we're asking, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
And come on, we know that our viewers are competitive people.
That's right.
You get to take a test and get a score. It's
right up cyclists and triathletes' alley,
That's
man.
right. Yeah.
So
now triathletes would want to study for hours and weeks ahead of time and follow and put it in a spreadsheet. But us cross racers, they're going to just like hack away at it, but they want to be better than the others.
Triathletes are going to complain that the test wasn't long enough.
Dr. Tracy Berman, we're being kind of mean to triathletes.
We love our triathlete
We do.
brethren and sisters and all that stuff. So
If you ride a bike, you're cool with us.
that's right. So
Upright bikes, downright bikes, recumbent bikes, e-bikes. If you ride a bike, you're cool with us.
that's right. So or other things too. You can skateboard.
We should have Mickey on the show.
All right. Anyways, get over to healthiq.com. Check it out. They're here for us. If is this our cycling community? A lot of times we complain about things aren't for us, and we worry about traffic because roads aren't built for us. Here's something where someone is thinking about us as cyclists.
Someone outside the traditional cycling world that cares about us.
Cares about cyclists. So
Yes.
get over there, healthiq.com/WAP. Check it out, and I think you'll be happy.
Indeed, you will. healthiq.com/WAP.
All right, Mr. Dave Palan, hit us up. We got two
All right.
more.
All right, this one is from Mickey.
Mickey who?
Is a regular, one of our favorite friends. And I just got this list this morning.
Yes.
And yet, what is on my head? Headset. Besides my headset is
the Tony Hawk Foundation cap
that was given to me
by Mickey himself.
in Reno CX Nats some time ago.
And
Mickey
I have one
is-
too. I
yeah,
just
don't know where it is.
I don't know where it is.
It's on my head.
You stole my cap.
It says Scotty D right in the back here.
All right, hit
anyways,
us.
Mickey writes, seating tubeless
Wait.
tire.
What's before that?
Dear dudes.
You can tell Mickey's a skateboarder.
Mickey's a Southern California guy, man. Dudes. Dear bruh. Dear dudes. Seating tubeless tires sucks.
Okay.
Just like Jan. Own it. Just own it.
He's not pulling any. I wish he'd tell us how he really feels.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
First, I tried training up my floor pump RPMs, which of course didn't work. Then I went through countless CO2 cartridges and eventually invested in a fancy rechargeable air canister, which works on some rim tire combos, but seemingly never on the ones I needed to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm ready for the heavy artillery, an air compressor. Question is, what size will work and what's overkill? So is he asking this because he wants to go into overkill? He wants to make sure?
Right. I want to make sure I'm
or
in
is he
the
trying
overkill
to
camp.
avoid overkill?
Right.
Will a 100 PSI 1/3 horsepower pancake compressor do it? And is it worth having the pressure gauge on the handle? Thanks, Mickey.
So absolutely, Mickey. Yeah. A pancake compressor is more. You don't need volume.
No.
You don't need much volume. I usually run I have a Porter cable pancake compressor that I put in the van.
Mm-hmm.
If I think I'm going to be doing like I'll take that up to the Glen Gary, Glen Ross, Glen Gravel, Gamble, Gramble.
Glengarry, Glen Ross, Glen Ravel, Glen Ramble.
Which, if people are not coming to, they need to. June 8th.
They should come to see the Porter Cable pancake compressor.
That's right. And I believe you can still register for that until June 4th.
Yes.
Online. And if you use, what's the discount code? Bike Shop
It's
CX?
not. I know what it's not. It's not Glen Gravel, Glen Ramble, Glen Gramble, Glen Grary, Glen Ross. I asked if he could do that one.
Right.
I was told no.
Okay.
He said you can't repeat it twice and get the same word, so how could he do it as a code? If they use Bike Shop CX, all lowercase.
I believe they get a 10% or 5%. It's a discount.
You
Whatever.
get a discount.
Whatever. So, and
it's
we
worth
know
paying extra to come because why? Because Drew Eschrick will be there. You thought I was going to say because you will be there.
Well, that too, but yeah, no, Drew. Yeah, I can't wait to see Drew. I haven't seen him since cross season.
Yeah,
I haven't
know.
seen him since like Louisville, so that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Drew's, of course, there representing Stan's No Tubes,
right?
So
we're not avoiding your question. We'll get to it,
but we are talking about tubeless
no
technology.
tubes, right? That's where we go. There's our segue to Drew Eschrick.
So if you're interested, if you're running any Stan stuff and you want to talk to Drew about it, I'm sure he would love to talk to you about that. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and if you wear space pants, he would
will
love to
call
talk
you
to you
out.
about
He will
space
call
pants.
you
Yeah.
And go get your discount code and get up there and see us on June 8th. It's going to be a blast.
Yes.
So, all right. So, yeah, Mickey, I use my Porter Cable pancake compressor. Like I said, I take it in the van. I usually set it to 90 PSI, and that's what I use, and I can do anything I want. You just need a burst of air. You don't need high volume. So a pancake compressor is more than adequate to give you what you need.
Right.
Is it worth having the pressure gauge on the handle? Yes and no. I mean, I've done it both ways. There's actually, I forget who makes it, but you know how you have those blow guns that you can put on an air hose, Mr.
Yep.
David?
Yeah.
It just blows air.
Right, yeah.
There's someone making one of those, and they've unscrewed the tip, and they put a Presta tip on it.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it gives you that big boom burst of air. That you can use, and we actually have one at the shop. I have one here too, but I also have the park.
As you say, you could buy just the park handle.
The park gauge is expensive, but it's really nice.
It is. It is.
So, and that does have the gauge on the handle. So I do both depending.
Yeah.
Probably when I go up to there, I'll probably bring the park one just because I'll use that as an overall tire gauge as well if I have to inflate any tires. But I've done it both ways. I almost always recheck it with a pump when I'm done anyways, so it doesn't really matter a whole bunch.
I mean, I would say if you're going to want to save money on any of it, you don't need the pressure gauge on the handle because you're really using the compressor to set the bead.
Yes, and then your final pressure is decided by the pump.
Right.
So yeah, I would. It's not a. You don't have to have it, but it is nice to have that there. So it depends how much you think you're going to be using it for other things too. Really. This one of the things is your tubeless tires. Yes, you hit it on the head exactly when you said, which works on some rim/tire combinations.
Right.
That's still where we are in the world of tubeless, right?
Yeah.
Some combinations work better than others. I've found if you use a full stand setup, it works wonderfully.
I have used a full stand setup and set it with just my floor pump.
Yeah. The other combination that I have used and never, ever had an issue with is using a DT Swiss rim and a Hutchinson tire. I've never had a problem setting those up. I shouldn't
That's
say
what
that.
I'm running now, by the way.
I had one problem, but it was because I let a tire sit and the sealant had dried in it, and until I cleaned out every bit of sealant out of that tire, it did not want to seat. But once I did that, it seated the first time.
It was teaching you the lesson.
So yeah, it was really my fault, not the rim tire combination. But there's just combinations that don't work and they're a pain. Another tip you didn't mention: don't forget soapy water on the bead before you go to give that burst of air. It's the step, and he probably did it, but just for people, it's the step that everyone wants to skip because it's messy. Right? They don't want to have to go mix up the water, leave the shop, go up to this kitchen sink, get a little Dawn.
But I like your idea, either in a little Tupperware container,
And just keep the lid on it.
resealable,
Yep.
or in a spray bottle.
Or in a spray bottle. Absolutely. Put soap in a spray bottle. Mr. David Palan used to grab that bottle because it said soap and start spraying his bike with it.
Yeah. I used to get yelled at all the time.
The
There
other
was
thing-
one time when I tried to take a shower with that bottle. Again, I got yelled at. So
The
now
other
it's in a
thing-
Tupperware thing, and I got to force myself to take a bath in that little Tupperware container.
The other thing that works really well for this is WD-40 Bike
Yes.
foaming bike wash. I spray it. You can spray it
You're
around.
a big fan of the foaming stuff. I remember the
Yeah,
Pecos
this-
Green.
it's
You'd love
'cause-
that
it's
foaming.
It's because it's soapy, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why it foams, right? So it's slippery, and so you spray that in
Yeah.
there. That really works well to help it seep. But it's the step everyone always wants to skip. So I'm not saying you're not doing that, Mickey. I don't know, but I'm always throwing it in there because everybody always wants to skip that. The other thing, when you're going to seat these with the compressor, make sure you're taking the valve core out. Take the valve core out. Put the nozzle on there. Give it that blast of air. Let it seat. Yes, when you take the nozzle off, the air will run back out.
Yep.
But you can do one of two things. One, you can have the core ready and try and trap as much in there still.
Yeah.
And then when you go, I've even had times though where I missed it or I didn't get it in time and all the air came out, but I didn't set it on the ground and break the bead.
Yep.
The bead had seated. I just held onto it, put the core in with no air in the tire, and then it'll inflate again right away.
Without even the compressor.
Without
You
even
can-
the compressor.
yeah,
You could
yeah.
use a pump at that point, but since the compressor is right there, I
course.
usually get like 40 PSI in it or something. And then it's firm, and then you can go to the pump and finish it. So those two things, soapy water and make sure you're taking the valve core out. Probably doing those already, Mickey. But yeah, and then it still comes down to just some rim tire combinations are finicky.
And that's nothing new.
No.
Like how many during the days when we used to use tubes and tires?
Yeah.
How many combinations of
Yeah.
zip wheels with Vittoria tires have you broken your thumbs?
Exploded tubes or
Exploded
or the other way.
tubes,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
your tire levers.
Yeah.
The days of plastic tire levers
Yeah.
popping off because they are impossible to see.
Yep,
Right?
absolutely, for sure. The other thing I was going to say is what, Mr. David Palan?
You were gonna say how cool it is that Mickey's gonna be out here in July.
Yes, June.
Well, I'm doing coast to coast,
Yeah.
but he's coming here for the Tony Hawk Foundation for the
This is going to be
big
amazing.
anniversary of the Ann Arbor Skate Park.
The Ann Arbor Skate Park. So yeah, I'm gonna hopefully get to hang out with Mickey some then. No, the other thing I
Bring
was
your
gonna
skateboard. I bet he'll autograph it for you.
I want to break both legs. But the thing, the other thing I want to say is make sure don't set the wheel on the ground, right?
No.
Because then it'll be harder to inflate. It's really cool if you have a work stand. Set the wheel in the work stand. Right, so that the rim
A
is
truing
sitting.
stand.
No, on the
No?
a work stand is fine.
Okay.
So the rim is turned towards you.
I got you, right.
Like a
Okay.
clock
Yep.
face,
Mhm.
and you just set the two things of the stand. The clamp part of the stand can go around like a spoke or two, and the wheel is facing you.
Yes.
And then you don't have any pressure at any point on the tire that can be causing the air, giving the air a place to escape.
Right.
It's letting it just kind of float until you get that air pressure in there to pop
Yeah.
it. So that can be helpful too. So
You know what else now?
yes.
The park wheels holder.
I gotta get one.
Is that cool or
God,
what?
I didn't order that soon enough, so
And now they're back ordered or
yeah,
something?
So I gotta wait. The other park tool. Have you seen that brake hose tool that they've made?
No, I have not seen that.
Oh man, it's really nice.
I think it's time for me to
setting the
start looking at
barb,
those.
for cutting the hose and setting the barb on the
Shimano makes one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is really nice.
Or
Really
are you
nice.
implying that the Shimano one?
No.
Much?
I've never used the Shimano one, so I
Okay.
don't know. So, but I know the park one looks really, really cool, and I got that
Nice.
set to order. But yeah, I'm sorry I missed the wheel thing because that looks really cool. Especially to me, the 45-degree angle. That's the one.
perfect.
That's the one I want, man.
Yeah.
So, anyways, all right, let's go on to the last question. I will read this one.
All right, there we go.
Hello there, Scotty D, and the one and only Mr. DVP.
Wow. Do I owe him money or something?
Matt, this is Matt, by the way, from Brooklyn, New York, and Matt is known as Matt's Rabbit on Instagram.
We
I know
follow
who
one
that is.
another.
I know who that
Yeah,
is.
we know him.
I really enjoyed participating in the April CX Challenge. It was tons of fun trying to get creative and using social media for some real good bike fun. Please keep up all the great work you folks are doing. Well, thank you, Matt. That is
Thanks.
the
That means a
exact
lot to
point
us.
of why we did it. It's just
It's
how can we-
community.
How can we have cyclocross fun in April?
Right.
And we
right.
discovered a way. And look for it next April. We got to put a twist on it maybe next time. So anyway,
Yeah, we'll do the April CX Challenge in May.
still call it the see
Yeah.
how many people.
There we go.
So my question, I'm hoping to use the CX off season to do a full strip down of my Van Dessel Illuminator, so I can get a deep clean of every nut, bolt, nook, and cranny. It is well needed after this past year's miserably wet and muddy Northeast CX season. Many bearings need to be replaced, a new chain, new pads, rotors, etc. So I figure I'd do all of it in one go and get the ride spick and span and ready for the 2019 season. I'm wondering if you've got any advice for someone looking to take on a full rebuild for the first time. Ooh, this is going to be a good question. I'm relatively handy, that's good, and have done many of the tasks needed to complete this, though I'm far from an experienced pro and very willing to reach out to my LBS and Team Cruise CX sponsor SIDS in New York City. Local LBS plug there, which is totally fine.
Local team plug.
That's right.
Which is cool.
SIDS in New York City for support and
Support
assistance.
the people that support our sport.
Any thoughts, advice, and assistance to ensure this not become a stressful summer, long, or costly affair is greatly appreciated. All the best from Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, Matt's Rabbit.
Yeah.
We love Matt's Rabbit.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of Matt, but I had to tell you, Matt, that Scotty D is now sweating profusely. And he's like grabbing at the microphone, just waiting for me to shut up so he can jump all over you. Why is it that you've gone an entire season on the same chain and haven't pulled the bike apart every Monday after your race on the weekend? Am I right, Scotty D?
I kind of.
Yeah.
Right. We were just talking about this before we started recording. Is how many questions we get from viewers that are basically, I don't really want to work on my bike. What can I do so I don't have to do anything to my bike?
Which is kind of the opposite here, sort of. I
Matt's
want to do
Matt's
every nook
I
and
want to do
cranny.
everything. I'm going to nail this.
But I've waited an entire year of not doing anything.
Well, I don't think it implies that he didn't clean anything all season long. That would
I'm
pretty
not
much
giving
be
you trouble about this one, Matt. I
we're
just noticed the steam coming out of his ears, and I wanted to get before he went off on you.
No, Matt, this is actually the time of year when you should be doing this.
Yes.
So this is great. This is going to be fun. You are going to learn so much about your bike. And it's going to, you know what? I'm going to guarantee this is going to happen to Matt in the next cyclocross season. If he gets this all completed, he gets his bike back together. He's
not going to wait.
He's going to be at some point in the cyclocross season.
Yeah.
And something's going to happen mechanically that he has to fix.
And he'll know it.
And before he even looks at it, in his mind, he's going to go, I know what that is.
Yeah.
And he's going to go right to it, and he's going to be able to fix it, and it's going to be great. So here's one of the things I would recommend, Matt. First thing, take your wheels off.
Yes.
And completely do your wheels, beginning to end, so that your wheels are done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take them off the bike and break
Take tires off.
Take the tires off of them. I don't know if they're tubs and you're going to leave them, then leave them. If they're not, then take the tires off, check all the rims, check your rim strip. If you're running tubeless, take your old sealant out, get ready to put new sealant in, all that stuff.
Go through, and even if you're not going to true the wheel, go through.
You are going to true the wheel.
Yes, you are. Spoke nipple to spoke nipple, and you're going to lubricate it. But what you really are going to do is look at each one individually, and you're going to start to see some cracking maybe at the spoke holes
or around the nipple hole, all that stuff.
Yep.
Go through, check your bearings. If you're going to rebuild the hubs, rebuild the hubs. If you're going to replace your free hub body, replace it, but get the wheels completely done. Once you've done that, that's a huge, it becomes much less. Now you can just focus on the frame, right?
Yeah.
The wheels are done, they're out of the way, and you don't have to. You're not having those half done while you still, and then you have the bike apart, and now you got parts every which way.
Yeah.
No, you got wheels completed and done and ready to go for the next.
Where do you go from next? I would probably go to me. I'm probably going to the cranks.
Well, the next thing I do is take everything off the frame. Every single thing.
Yep.
So, maybe start with the crank. Well, I'll probably take the chain off. If it's junk, I'm just cutting it. And don't use your chain tool. If your chain is junk, right, you're replacing it, don't use your chain tool to sit there and take your chain
Besides the
off.
time that you're using to do that,
just cut it.
They kind of have a limited number of uses. There's a lot of uses, but the chain tools, the pin has to be replaced
got
over
a
time.
lifetime, right?
Yeah.
So don't even waste pressing that out. Cut it. Or if you got a SRAM chain, break the thing and go. And then, so get that out of there. Start making your list of what you're going to have to buy, like a chain, like brake pads, like housing. Do you have housing? Do you have new cables ready for it? Are you going to, if you're running hydraulic brakes, do you have fluid, depending, if it's SRAM or Shimano, do you have the right fluid? Do you have a bleed kit? Do you have all that stuff? Bar tape, you're going to need. If you're doing this, you're going to replace your bar tape.
Oh, yeah, because you're going to replace housing, and you don't want to unwrap the bars and try to rewrap them to try to save your housing.
Yeah. So the next thing then is to go through.
And I'll tell you, all the things that we've already talked about that is going to make this bike feel so good, the bar tape, surprisingly, will be one of the big things that'll make this bike feel really good.
So then I'd go through, like you said, Mr. David, cranks, bottom bracket. That would be the next major thing. Make sure the bearings are good. If not, replace them. Replace the whole bottom bracket if you need to. Get that done. But but I wouldn't do that until the frame was down to the bare frame. I'm talking fork out everything. Take your pieces of your headset as you take the fork out, slide them back over the steer tube, and then put the cap back on the steer tube so that they stay on there.
Right.
And in the same order.
Yes.
That way, because you're going to come back to this weeks later, maybe a couple months later, and you're going to forget, oh, wait, which way did this go?
And I may have said this before, but I would take pictures as you take this thing apart.
Here's the and this
before
is,
you take it apart.
This is something
as
that
you take it
almost never goes away. I'm doing Dr. Tracy Berman's Focus now.
That never goes away.
Right?
Yeah.
What did I do? It's sitting in the stand. The first thing I did, I took about a dozen pictures of it.
I think that was mostly to taunt her about how dirty the bike was.
No, seriously. I took about a dozen pictures of it.
Yeah.
Just because it's so easy.
Yeah.
It's not like pictures are any big deal anymore. So I just took about a dozen pictures of it from different angles.
I mean, right down to things like how many spacers are above the stem and how many spacers are below the stem.
Yeah, it's all that kind of stuff that you might forget. You might forget to write down, and if all else fails, you can go back and look at that picture. So don't forget
Send
to do
those
that.
pictures to bikeshopshow@gmail.com.
Usually, once I have everything off, the first thing I do is get the fork back in. Okay, so when you're down to just the bare frame, everything, and I mean everything's off the frame.
So
there's nothing else on the frame.
I'm going to interrupt you here because I just did.
Yeah.
And I would say you have a relationship, not you. This is the Matt you.
You've got
Matt,
SIDS.
you have a relationship with a shop, a local bike shop. And I'm sure there's a bunch of good ones in Brooklyn. Bring this pile of parts that you have now generated, and for the ones that are worth keeping and cleaning, have them put it in their parts washer. I'm assuming you don't sound really crazy about doing all this all the time. I'm guessing you probably don't have your own parts washer. Bring it to them.
Yeah, they might do that.
They probably have a sonicator where they will put it in the ultrasonic and clean it for you, and that will go. I mean, that saves you so much time.
Yeah, I mean, see what they think about. I mean, they'll
don't ask them to do it for free.
And they'll give you some guidance on what they would and wouldn't do that with, as far as, because we don't want to go through every single thing that you should and shouldn't parts wash. Right. But yeah, and then go through each. So first thing is get the fork back in, right? Assess the headset. Do you need a new one? Yes, no. What am I going to do? Slide that in and get the fork back on. Now it kind of looks like a bike again. Yeah. Right? It's starting to look like a bike again. Again, I usually leave the seat post in so that you can keep it in the stand.
Right.
And then...
But take it out and clean it.
The seat post? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The Colnago is now kind of hanging from a hook right now. And when I put it up to hang it, it sounded like a rain stick again.
There's something in there somewhere.
I can imagine how much sand and gravel is in there. So it's a time to, pull the seat post out, pull the headset, pull the bottom bracket, and you'll be amazed at what comes out of those frames.
Right. And then just start piecing it back together. I like to do brakes first. Once every single component has been cleaned, taken apart to whatever degree you're going to take it apart. Again, don't forget to clean your pulley wheels on your derailleurs. Brakes taken apart. Do you need new pads? Yes, no. Put those back in. All that stuff. All the components are done, clean, and you're starting to put it back together. I like to do brakes first, then derailleurs, and then you got your wheels back on. Redo your chain, cable that thing. Boom, ready to go.
I hear you talking, and I have a question for you.
Okay.
Hydraulic disc brakes.
Yes.
Are you pulling those off? And because now you're going to have to talk about...
It depends how long it's been since I've bled them.
Okay.
If they need to be bled, then...
You might as well pull them off.
Well, I still probably wouldn't. The only time I would pull them off is if I need new hose.
Okay. Which is rare.
which is rare. Hose lasts a long time.
Yeah.
Brake hose lasts a long time. So if you're going to put new hose on, and they're hydraulic, then yes, then I would just break it, let have a container to let the fluid run into. And
in particular, if it's dot fluid, don't just let it drip everywhere.
Yeah, be more careful with that than the mineral oil, but or whatever other brakes you're using. But yeah, usually no. I just take those off, leave them connected to the lever, and then put that back on. But it depends. I mean, if it's internally routed, you're gonna have to break it anyways to get it out,
to strip it out. Yeah,
right. So if you're not gonna do that, then you can just leave it. Yeah, I would still disconnect the brake.
Right, so you can clean around it.
Look at everything from 360 degrees, and clean it. And then that's even something, once you get the frame clean, just bolt that back on.
Yeah.
The other thing is, when everything is off the frame, this is a great time to wax your frame because you can get to everything.
Every
so I take my Pledge, and I just spray the whole thing with Pledge. If your brakes are still on.
His bike area smells amazing,
wonderful.
Especially when he's doing this. I actually use the spray wax myself.
Yeah, whatever
turtle
you use.
Wax generally.
And you will do this again once everything is back on, because you'll get more. Reassembling the bike will put all kinds of more fingerprints and stuff. But doing it now is important because you'll get to places that you can't get to once everything is on.
The chances of you actually waxing or polishing your brake pads is much less if you do it when you have this stuff stripped off.
If you have left the brakes on because they're hydraulic and internally routed, then you can cover them in a bag. You can cover them in a rag and make sure it's out of the way when you spray that area, whatever. But yeah, or it sounds like you're going to be replacing brake pads. Take the old ones out, put a bleed block in, and now it doesn't matter.
Right.
And you can just spray to your heart's content. So yeah, but wax it then, and then put everything back together, looking at your pictures when you need to. And it's that simple. And you'll be happy that the wheels are already done, and all you got to do is slide them in.
Yeah.
So, all right, Matt, good luck with that project. And again, keep us posted as you're working on it. And if you have any issues along the way, let us know.
We will be looking for it on the instance to see how you're progressing on that.
All right, Mr. David Palan, I think
sir.
that's it for the week. That's our last viewer question. That was a lot. You see why we wanted to do one whole show, just to get our questions caught up. So there you go. And a couple of those were from this week. If people want to send us more questions, where should they send them?
bikeshopshow@gmail.com.
That would be bikeshopshow@gmail.com. Mr. David Palan, if people want to get in touch with you via the social interwebs, how should they do it?
At Mr. David Palan. I'm on the Instagram, and I am on the Twits.
Best way to get a hold of me, Scott Diedenbach, is at bikeshopcx on Instagram, or again, just send an email to the email address that we just gave, bikeshopshow@gmail.com.
Bikeshopshow@gmail.com. Although someone had pointed out to us in the past, which is probably not a bad idea, if you have complaints, send them to Wide Angle Podium. No, sorry. Send them to the Slow Ride at gmail.com.
That's right.
That's where complaints go.
That's perfect. Complaints only go to the Slow Ride.
Yes.
All right, Mr. David Palan.
I am really psyched to be seeing a lot of you when we will be together in Trek. And with that, the bike shop is closed.
All right, you just listened to Bike Shop CX. That was pretty good.
Yeah, it was. And now this is where you come in and overstep me and reclose the bike shop. I know you do that.
That's right. So again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, send them to bikeshopshow@gmail.com.
Bikeshopshow@gmail.com.
And we'll read your question on the air.
We will indeed.
All right. I guess that's it. That's enough of my yapping. We're out of here. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time. And with that, the bike shop is closed.
I knew he was going to do that.
Testing.
Tick, 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 tick.
Say something a little louder.
And 1 2 1 2. Okay. Maybe it's my headset, but I feel like I'm really quiet.
I'll give you a little more volume. How's that?
Then I got to listen to you louder too, am I? Yeah. Okay.
All right, ready?
Ready.